All right, we'll call the meeting to order.
2 minutes late.
Everybody have a chance to take a look at the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, got a motion, a second for approval of the minutes. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Discussion of possible action on final development plans, XL Energy, Hudson Service Center, 26,392 square feet, service center, and 8,400 square feet cold storage, 2001 Old Highway 35 South, Southeast Quadrant of State Trunk Highway 35 and Hanley Road, Northern States Power, Wisconsin, XL Energy.
This is the final development review for the proposed XL Energy facility. Again, as Mayor O'Connor noted, this is located at the southeast quadrant of State Trunk Highway and Hanley Road. Just some minor utility information that needed to be modified. I think the biggest issue, part of the motion for the concept plan was submittal of the communication tower information. We still haven't seen that yet. So Len, do you want to go over any changes that were made from the last revisions or anything?
Yeah.
Just a brief overview, please.
Yep. Once again. Oh.
Thank you.
All right, Len Schreiber with Cedar Corporation, and we haven't really did any revisions to the plans yet. There are a couple things that we're kind of working on yet, but we did get your comments. For the most part, they were, fairly minor. Once again, we're going with the two-lot breakdown. Lot 1 being the largest one. I think it's 15.1 acres, and then the other one is roughly about 6.2. And breaking it up, Excel is going to take the lot number 1 and then be selling lot 2, all right, sometime in the future. The other part of the survey map that we did is there is some bump out in the right-of-way for the farmstead that was there. Once again, we're going to eliminate that, all right? So that's kind of in the works and being taken place. Then the building really hasn't changed, other than from what you guys have seen. Maybe they expanded it, I believe, about 10 feet to the north for the future expansion, and then another little bit expansion to the east. But for the most part, the existing building, or what you guys have always seen, is still planned for the construction. Once again, the building being a cold storage building that's going to be metal, matching the concrete panel structure. That's also going up, and I'm going to lose this one. And so then the building itself, the main office is going to sit here, and that cold storage will be over towards where the highway is. And I'm going to take this one off, this one off too. And we have some lighting details that we showed last time, and I lost one plan anyhow. All right. Back to the site then. For the most part, really nothing has changed as far as the pavement goes. Where the location of the buildings are, those all pretty much stayed the same. And then basically we added, once again, the turning lane, right, with the proper radiuses per the state of Wisconsin. Grading, we did add, like you, in some of the past comments, some curb and gutter with concrete flumes so that it goes down to the channels, adding some riprap also at those locations to make sure that nothing is going to erode. And so we have those on the north, one over here where it's going to go down into this pond, and then also to the south where it goes to drainage ditch and heads over to the pond itself.
With the major, most significant changes that you're redirected water away from the state right of way.
Correct.
Which
Yep.
you're still going to send the information to the state for review, but there's very little water going to the right of way now.
Yep, and we made contact with the DOT, and some of them were out over the Labor Day weekend, so Paul Gingras is the contact we have to make, and as soon as we get all the corrections made per your city staff comments, then we're going to send the whole package over to them. and, go from there.
Essentially, the city, SEH, is the city stormwater review, approved the plan. There's just some very minor modifications.
Yep, and what we did with the modifications is basically, we had the overflow water going over here next to Highway 35, and what we did is we are taking it now, it's gonna be an overflow up in this corner, we'll go up into this ditch, and then to this, I believe it's a 30-inch culvert that crosses Hanley Road to the north, like it always does right now, so not changing much of that pattern at all. And so with that, we just added some additional riprap at those locations where that concentrated flow of the water is going to be. And then basically, per Eric's as well as the NOI for the project, for the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources have added those erosion control items that they required for the project. This is probably one that's probably still up there a little bit in the air for comment from city staff. We do have a hydrant location now that we've changed, and what they would like to see is the domestic water and the fire suppression water for the building kind of changed a little bit, and what we're going to do is probably stem a 2-inch domestic line right up to the building edge as well from this location. That would give you access to that point so that you could turn that off if you had to for city staff. And then basically continue on with the 8-inch up to the building edge so that they had adequate supply of water for that sprinkler system that would have to go on inside the building. Once again, we are not doing the actual sprinkler system calcs and that type of thing. That will be the plumbing contractor for the project, but we'll be working with them to make sure that we have the adequate size up there. Couple other items are some easement to get availability to these utilities along that corridor. I do believe that you have access from the south, and so we're working with city staff to make sure we take care of that. One other request that we got from city staff is to add a hydrant up in this location that would provide, if you look at the way we have it set up right now, we have adequate, or the 150 feet up to this corner. But if that future expansion would ever happen, then we don't have that any longer. So what they want to do is try to get us to come somewhere in this neighborhood, get a hydrant up in this corner that would then give us that 150-foot access like you would have on the other one. So you'd have two spots where fire access could be taken. Other than that, I think the other comments are pretty minor, some labeling, that type of thing that really needs to be taken care of on this. And then the last one that we had shown from the last time is the landscaping, and just wanted to see some more evergreen type shrubs, trees, that type of thing. So what we did is kind of, in what we had from before, kind of added some of those evergreen type trees along the perimeter of the entire project. So other than that, I think comments are easy to take care of, and plan on working with the staff to get those accomplished.
So I recommend approval of the final development plans for XL Energy Service Center. However, this does not include approval of the tower. We need to see that information, so that will be brought back and presented to us in the future.
And one thing on that, we just found out today in a meeting that that tower height changed. It's going to be now 120 feet.
Okay.
I believe it was 150 before, correct? Yeah, not to exceed. So
Well,
that's
if
the
you can get that
latest
information to us, we appreciate it. So, but yeah, the recommendation to the council will not include recommendation on tower at this time. So, if the plan commission wishes to make a recommendation.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
That's with the contingency of plan modifications due to the city staff.
That
Yes.
it also doesn't include the tower approval yet.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion possible action on concept development plans, 8,487 square feet, commercial building, 2161 to 2181 Badger Drive, Hudson Center Holdings LLC.
This is the location of the former visitor center site, again, generally located south of I-94, north of Crestview Drive and north of Badger Drive. They're proposing a 8,500 square foot commercial building, of which one of the proposed tenants is Panera Bread dining facility, and there'd be 2 additional tenants in the building. Alan Catchpool is here tonight. Alan, who's going to generally make just a general presentation and be a tag team, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll turn the floor over to you and let you, for the most part, the general comments from city staff are relatively minor. Again, this is a concept plan, so it'll be brought back in a couple weeks for final development plan review. Generally, some utility work, but it's things that Alan will mention. But I asked him before the meeting, and he said that generally the changes that staff have requested are agreed to. Okay, turn the floor over to you. Thank you.
Alan Ketchel with CEI Engineering. What we're proposing, like
And he mentioned here is a 3-unit, approximately 8,500 square foot building, Lot 7. This is kind of the overview here. So you got AutoZone and the Panda Express and the Lot 4 buildings that we have completed in the past. So just a larger scale here. We've got 73 parking stalls. Same configuration on Lot 4 with the double drive around. Currently, we've got a drive-through for Panera. Nothing proposed yet for this south building, but it's we're kind of leaving that open for the future. Currently, they're looking at Five Guys, who doesn't need a drive-through, but in the future, we could always put one in. Same thing, we've got 4-bay trash here in the southeast corner, and like I said, we're about just under 2 acres of disturbance for this lot. All drainage will go be collected via storm sewer and then piped over to the existing pond. So, and like I said, we've got staff comments and minor utility tweaks here and there, add a valve, add a little insulation. But nothing major. We'll get that taken care of before the next meeting.
Dan, you want?
So what we've got for the building materials is we've got a red brick, 2-tone ephes, darker metal panel, couple color, another additional color ephes, very similar to the buildings that we did across the road that have the AT&T and all the other ones across Badger Drive, but for the most part, just copying what we've done in the past with the materials. And all that's left is just floor plan wise. Right now we're planning for 3 tenants, with Panera being the larger one and Five Guys proposed here and a future tenant in the middle to infill. That's pretty much it.
Any questions? Staff recommends approval of the concept plans contingent on final plan modifications per city staff recommendations.
Thank you.
Have a motion?
I'll make a motion, subject to contingencies.
Okay.
Second?
A motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Discussion and possible action on development plans, water treatment plant number 10, 2,483 square feet facility west of Old Highway 35, south of Stage Line Road, Hudson Public Utilities.
And this proposed water treatment facility is located out on the east side of town, just south of Stage Line Road. and it'll be immediately east of State Trunk Highway 35, so it'll be visible from the highway, but not accessible from Highway 35. It'll be accessible either going into the residential subdivision to the south, or there is also a proposed service road through the church on the east side of this site. So there's alternative access into this location. Kip Peters is here tonight, the utility director, to generally present the project. I guess this is a fairly straightforward project where the Plan Commission wants to take a second look at this under a final plan, but really the plans aren't going to change that much. I'd leave it up to you where you want to go ahead and forward a final recommendation to the council for approval tonight, or ask for it to be brought back in greater detail. But it's really a fairly straightforward project. What the project will encompass is a small building, about 3,000 square feet. A well will be located inside the building, and then the water treatment facility will also be located in the building. And then there's some general service, but I'll allow Kip to go into that in more detail. So we'll turn it forward to Kip Peters.
Thank you. For one, I apologize, I didn't bring a big board like everybody else, so I feel kind of bad. You do have the maps or the plans in front of you. What we are proposing is what we're calling Municipal Well 10. Like Denny said, it's going to be out just east of Highway 35. We did have a commission meeting, a utility commission meeting tonight, right prior to this. They did approve these. They did move forward this onto, or their recommendation onto you and also onto the city council. There's a few minor changes that we had discussed just at that prior meeting. One was the driveway access. If we can make the driveway access work through the easement through the church property, which is what we want and what we're proposing to the church, they would like to eliminate the driveway coming off of Canary, just so we can keep our trucks out of there. Just have the one entrance, one exit, be the same. So we did talk about that. So if we can make that, the proposed driveway work through the church property with an easement up there, there is talk of us eliminating that Canary Drive, just so our trucks, like I said, or our chemical trucks that we get in monthly, things like that, there's no chance that they're going to be driving through a residential neighborhood. We'd rather keep them out of that if we can. The other change that came out of that meeting is if you go to kind of the renderings that we had with the darker colors, one recommendation out of that, and I do not have it with me because it just came out of the last meeting, there was, they want to see the color change to similar to what's Municipal Well 8, which is up on, right on top of the hill. I don't know how many of you were familiar with up there, but it's more of a light sandstone color. So that came out of that. That was a recommendation from the Utility Commission to kind of keep the buildings consistent that way. But other than that, I guess if you have any, the concept plan has gone to DNR already for approval. We do need approval from the Department of Natural Resources for a project like this. We also need Public Service Commission authorization. We go into there probably by the end of the week. Everything will be down there. Staff has had a chance to look at this. I've talked to Tom Zifko about it. He has been in contact with SEH about just a few minor changes. Some of the line work in the plan just needed to be redone. There was a couple grading issues with water coming down the hill that we wanted to look at and stuff like that. So we are aware of that, and we are in contact with the engineering side of the city. So other than that, I guess if
Maybe you want to talk a little bit about the two ponds on the, one is your,
there is two ponds out there. One of them we will be using as a backwash pond. May want to explain what that is.
A backwash,
if you go to, let's see, It's going to be the first rendering where the inside drawing is with the big tank. What that tank is, that's an iron filter, which it's a 40 foot by 10 foot tank. It's filled with, to make it very simple, it's filled with sand. We pressure push the water through the sand, which removes the iron. Once or twice a week, depending on how much water goes through that filter, it has to be backwashed. So the backwash will actually go out to the first pond, what would it be, the first southern pond on the site. That's where we'll be backwashing water to.
And then, these ponds, if you go to White Camp Park, where that facility's at, you just go to the west of that, there's a backwash pond incorporated into that facility, so all it is it's a depression into the ground, basically where they pump this water, then it basically infiltrates into the ground. But, I mean, it does exist, and, I mean, you wouldn't even know what it is if somebody didn't explain it to you. You just think it's general stormwater, so.
To my knowledge, nobody has ever, at parks, out at White Camp, called, questioned, or brought it to mind that they had any question about it whatsoever. It's just been unobtrusive.
And so I guess if you guys have any questions that I can't answer, Chris Larson is here from SEH to answer anything if you have any other questions.
And what's the schedule, Kip?
The schedule for this, like I said, it's gone, the conceptual plan has gone to DNR for approval. Maybe I'll let Chris talk about that. He knows way more than I do, the plan on that stuff, so.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Chris Larson. I'm a water engineer with SEH. As Kip mentioned, we have two submittals to the DNR. One, we needed to resubmit the preliminary engineering report. So this project was actually bid once in 2009, a substantially larger project. It was never built. So we resubmitted the preliminary engineering report a few weeks ago. Upon approval of that preliminary engineering report, we will submit the full plans and specs to the DNR. So as soon as, so that'll take 60 to 90 days for them to review that also. We also, as Kip mentioned, have a Public Services Commission submittal that we need to make also, and we'll make that in the next few days.
So on the backwash, just for informational purposes, essentially what's going into the water then is just sand and iron?
It acts exactly the same way your swimming pool filter would. So you pump a bunch of water through a sand filter. In this case, we're turning the iron into a filterable solid. Then when you're back flushing that filter at a high rate, it cleans all those solids off the filter. It ends up in an infiltration basin. So it then percolates down into the ground, and you'd be left with a small amount of iron residual on the ground. But like I said, when it dries up, it would be, pretty unremarkable, I think.
I guess the question is, I mean, this is a pretty small, straightforward project, other than the technology that's involved in it, where you want to come back in 2 weeks, any revisions, or you want to recommend approval to go to the Common Council, which would be next Monday.
Are there major revisions here?
I don't think, Skip, I don't think there's any significant.
The only revisions, inside stuff.
Skip, maybe you want to stand up and at the lectern, please. Thank you.
I mean, the only revisions that we're gonna have, there might be some few minor inside things that really you wouldn't be concerned with anyway. That's gonna be operational. The only other thing, like I mentioned earlier, that came out of the Utility Commission is the color of the building. We just want that to match our existing municipal well 8. And then, what was my other one? Oh, in the driveway. If we get access, which we're working with the church in Salt Lake City, so it just kind of takes us, it's taken some time to figure all that out in terms of easements and stuff. But if we get that access off of Highway 35, the Utility Commission would like to eliminate or not build the extension coming off of Canary Drive, so.
And purpose of that's trying to keep vehicles going through the residential
Right,
areas.
yeah, just so we can
Plus-
keep our staff from going through there and also from our delivery trucks of chemical and things of that. And plus, it's gonna be about a year-long project. You know, we're hoping to go to bid on this, you know, right after the first of the year, as soon as we can get approvals from everybody. And then start construction hopefully right away this spring. And it's gonna be it's gonna be pretty much a whole year construction phase. So the more we can keep that truck traffic, you know, out of that residential area, that's why we're hoping to get that driveway through there, so. Those are probably your minor, however you wanna look at it, 2 changes. But other than that, nothing else is gonna change.
Is there a possibility, Kip, that building elevation, those color modifications might be ready? We can send that to the council Monday if the plan commission chooses.
I'm
to-
guessing we're gonna have that.
Pretty straightforward, yeah, that's really a graphic 5 or 10 minute job, I think, so.
Yeah, because I know Tom Zifko has been in contact with Eric Hensgaard. I believe that's who's doing it.
Yeah, and Eric,
From SEH, and they've been talking back and forth, so SEH is making the changes.
yeah. and-
They're probably really close. You guys, we did this like last week,
Yeah.
so.
Well, and also the stormwater design was done by Eric Hensgaard.
Yeah.
He reviews all the commercial developments for stormwater, so the guy that does the review for us has actually designed this, and he was a longtime DNR employee that reviewed stormwater, so he's an expert at this subject, so we feel very good that the stormwater's been reviewed and proposed in a good way, so. My recommendation would be is to go ahead and forward a recommendation for approval contingent on city staff for the next meeting, for the September 19th council meeting.
Council meeting, anybody see any reason to bring it back here?
Do you want to add anything about the access? The road or-
Yeah, I mean, that'd be they're suggesting that if they get the easement from the church, that's their preferred way. If they don't get the easement, we will be forced to go through the residential subdivision, or it won't be a choice.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, we can put that in there. Yeah, I'll incorporate language for that.
Okay.
And I doubt we'll even have that information for council.
Yeah,
Council will probably be faced with the exact same scenario.
We'll just address that as a alternative
Right.
route, or preferred alternative route for access.
Okay. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded for approval. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Is there a motion? Or any comments, any,
Do we have a
What is-
next meeting date? Did I miss
Well,
that?
it's the 27th of September.
I will not be
Tuesday.
available. Sorry.
That's fine.
okay,
And then do you have ideas for October?
Well, as of today, it would be October 4th and probably October 25th,
Okay,
4th and 25th.
okay, thank you.
I'll send out an email on that, so.
Yep, no, I appreciate that, thank you.
Motion
okay, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
Adjournment's moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And adjourned. Thank you.